Hi, everybody. Do you like work? Do you like peace? Rudeness? Do you like seagulls? Well, you're in luck. Because today, in the Night Night Lighthouse, we're going to talk about work, rudeness, peace, and seagulls. Roll the music. Hey now, everybody, and welcome back into the Night Night Lighthouse. It's a pleasure to see you all, and I'm sure it's a pleasure to see me. Or hear me. Or maybe it's not. But you downloaded it, so tough shit. I got the figures now. You stop listening, it doesn't really matter. I've got the download number now. Just download it again off a different ISP, okay? Thank you for joining me. Come on up to the top of the tower, looking out upon the bay. It's a calm, yet overcast day. The seagulls are circulating and circling around my car, on which upon they will defecate. The fucking cunts. Welcome to the Night Night Lighthouse, yes. It's very nice to see some stats recently. I've been looking at my stats recently, and I'm starting to see people popping up from different parts of the world. It's always been kind of Britain and America heavy, my listenership, for what it's worth. But now there's some Canadas creeping in. I've had a couple of Brazils, some Spains, some China. Could all be bots, of course, and, you know, it probably is. But still, it's nice to see that a Chinese bot is taking an interest in the Night Night Lighthouse. I love sitting here talking to you people. It's amazing to think that people around the world are listening to me. As I sit here recording this, I'm conscious of the fact that someone as far-flung as China may well listen. This blows my mind. I'm very grateful to anyone that listens. Welcome to the Gospel of Andy. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Talking Bollocks. So yes, a lovely peaceful Sunday, if it wasn't for all the people trying to intrude on my peace, of which there are many. It seems we just don't do peace anymore. We like to interrupt each other, which isn't that big a deal, but it really winds me up. I got called rude before by my wife and my daughter. They both said I was rude, but I stand by it. I stand by it. See where you stand on this. So I'm lying on the sofa. I'm playing some Super Nintendo. I'm playing Super Contra. It's freaking awesome. I'm happy. I've got a cup of tea. What a good day. And then... And you're like, oh, what's this? What's this now? Now, I knew what it was, because I'd been out earlier in the day, and I'd seen people in suits loitering around my area, and I thought, it's them. I knew it would be a matter of time before they came for me. And they came. Now, my first instinct is to avoid it, to ignore it, to pretend it hasn't happened. But, because I'm an idiot, the actual first thing I do is look out of the window, make eye contact with the person knocking on my door. It's very difficult to pretend you're not in once you've done that. And to not answer the door is just too rude. It's just too direct. And I can't do that either. So, yes, I answered the door. Now, other people in the house could have done it, but they chose not to. Which is fine. You know, I'll let that go. Anyway, so it's the guy in a suit, one of the people in a suit. And the first thing he says to me was, in that horrible, jokey, pally way they adopt to try and ingratiate themselves with you, don't worry, mate, I'm not a Mormon. Now, no, you're not a Norman. Norman? You're not a Mormon, but you are a salesman, and I don't want you knocking on my door. So I just said, I'm sorry, mate, I'm not interested. And I shut the door. Now, as soon as I did it, everyone in the house said, that was rude. That was rude. And I suppose it was. Looking back, I suppose it was. But in that sort of hindsight way that we do, once something's happened and we know we've been maybe a little bit off, but we need to somehow justify our behaviour, I'm thinking, he said, the first thing, his opening gambit to try and ingratiate himself so I wouldn't shut the door in his face was, don't worry, pal, I'm not a Mormon. If only I'd been quicker and said, well, I am. Do you know what I mean? That would have fucking cut his legs off beneath him, wouldn't it? Well, I am. And I'm deeply offended by you claiming not to be a Mormon, as way of ingratiating yourself so you can try and sell me gas or electricity, or probably both. Was I rude? Probably I was. Yeah, okay, fine. But it's just like, fuck off. Just leave me alone. It's Sunday. I don't want people knocking on my door trying to make me change gas and electricity supplier. If I wanted to, I'd do it online. Which is another point. I wish my monthly bills would just reduce. But I can't be fucking arsed doing anything about it. Now, I'll be honest, if your gas bill is, for the sake of an easy figure, let's just say your utilities bills total is 100 quid, right? And then supplier X knocks on your door and says, we'll do it cheaper. Well, they're doing it for 98 quid. It's 2 quid saving. I can't be arsed. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to fund my child through college, is it? I just can't be arsed. And the very fact that you knock on my door means I am not... You could cut it in half, and I wouldn't. If anything, I would switch to a more expensive supplier just to spite you. And then who's having the last laugh? You, in fairness, but still, fuck off. I was told the other day that my strength in podcasting, if I have any, is in chill. It's my chill. You've got some music, you've got the sound of the waves. And I think they were kindly implying that I should stop with the aggro stuff, like telling doormen to fuck off and stuff like that. So this is probably a poor opening. And if you like the chill of the lighthouse, you're in luck, because there's going to be loads of it. Because I'm just going to stay silent for the next 25 minutes. And you can just listen to the waves and those twatting seagulls. Are you still there? Are you still listening? There's those seagulls, listen. Not even a seagull's mother could love a seagull, I've decided. Even if, I'm back now, even if you were a seagull yourself, and hence you gave birth to a clutch of seagulls, you would be like, oh, just, can you fly yet? No, we'll push him out the nest. I would. Can you fly yet? No? Push. And all the way down, here. Did you hear that one? That was, he was falling out of the nest. You didn't hear the... But I did. So, seagulls then. Again, I can't get peace even in the lighthouse because there are forever seagulls. That's the one again. They're fucking constant. There's seagulls just constantly commenting and judging me. I can't walk out of this lighthouse without one of them commenting that I look a twat in this hat, which is a common thing, I'm told. They don't like my new trousers. I'm too old to pull off a RoboCop t-shirt and stuff like that. Well, fuck you, seagulls, too. So you want some chill? Let's have some chill. Let's be chilled and peaceful. Let's talk about peace. I don't mean the 70s hippie peace. Nothing wrong with that. I quite like that too. But just peace, just calm, just serenity. I wish I could meditate, but I don't think I can. I'm told I could if I tried. I haven't tried, which is true. But I just can't bring myself to sit still and do nothing and be silent for that long. I promised you 25 minutes of just the sound of these waves, and I couldn't last more than, 15 seconds. I just can't imagine meditating. I think if you're a meditator and you were meditating next to me, you would find me the worst meditation partner there could possibly be, because we'd be sitting there cross-legged, I imagine, with our thumb, our ring, and our middle finger, looping, just listening to the waves. And I would have to ask you at some point, what are you having for your tea? I just can't help myself. I just need to know people's dietary requirements. I need to know what people are eating. I find it very telling about a person if I can regularly ask what they're having for their meal and then see. You can't judge a person on one meal. Do not judge a person on one meal. But over time, you can start to build up a picture of that person, their home life, their relationships. Many different factors. It's fascinating. But you're trying to meditate, and I'm asking you what you're having for your tea. And you're probably thinking, it doesn't really matter. I'm feeding my soul. And I'll be like, how come I loved Breaking Bad, but I just can't get into Better Call Saul? And you'll be there meditating, thinking, I don't know. maybe Walter White was absolutely fundamental to your enjoyment of the program and his fractious relationship with Jesse. But I am trying to meditate, Andrew. So if you wouldn't mind, just shush it down. And I'll go, oh, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, of course. I'm sorry. Of course. And then you'll go back to meditating. And because I'm very British, I'll go, sorry about that. And you'll go, that's okay. That's fine. It's fine. Do you think Tony Soprano really did die at the end of The Sopranos? I'll say. And you'll be like, I don't know. And if anything, your zen will go down and your anger will rise like a volcano. And I will have ruined that for you. So I don't meditate, but I do like peace. But peace to me, I think we all have our own peace. Lying on the sofa playing Contra on my Super Nintendo is peaceful to me. I'm massacring aliens, yes, but it's in a zen state. It's a very difficult game. Seconds count. You've got to get it right. So I find that quite zen. My mind is taken away from all, apart from the blasting of the aliens when I play Super Contra. That is my meditation. Nintendo is my church. Hallelujah! Just as a sidetrack, because I'm incapable of staying on topic in the same way I'm incapable of meditation. I was in the supermarket yesterday. Some supermarket chatter, not had any of that in quite some time. Some supermarket chatter coming up, folks. Retweet, tell your friends. I was in the supermarket, right? And, oh my God, I hate this moment. I'm just too polite or too much of a pussy. I'm just too passive. You've got your conveyor belt full of stuff. And then someone rocks up behind you with a loaf of bread. That's all they've got, a loaf of bread. And you think, okay, you can go ahead. I'm not going to make you wait for my conveyor belt of stuff to get tallied up. You go first. You've only got a loaf of bread. That's fine. But then someone else does it. And it starts to get annoying. And it's like, okay, so it's costing me altogether an extra minute of my life. Why do I start finding it annoying when I see people in a supermarket with one loaf of bread? I think it's because in this supermarket, it's a bog standard basic supermarket. There's you're all singing, all dancing with, 10 items or less queues and stuff over the road. But they've not gone to that one. They've come to save themselves 15 pence. And they want to play by the rules of the good shop. They want the price of the shit shop, but the rules of the good shop. And they're stood behind me, and I can't have that moment. When you're waiting at the conveyor belt with that person with their loaf of bread, kind of eyeing you expectantly, kind of just waiting to make eye contact so they can sort of go, you all right? As if they don't want anything, and then you then are duty bound to say, oh, do you want, you only got the loaf of bread? Oh, you go first. And he goes, oh, no, it's all right, mate. Because that's what we do as British people. No. You want something, you set up a situation where the other person has to offer it to you. You then refuse, they insist, you accept. It's the 6-point plan. It's fucking pointless. It's ridiculous. But there you go. That's my own fault. That minute of your life, it's not that bad. I mean, you'll get that back at some point. It's like another thought I had, again, another tangent. Sat-navs encourage speeding. I swear to God they do. Because when you get in your car for a journey, you don't know where you're going to, and you type in the address in the sat-nav, it comes up. Your ETA is 1213. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, oh, really? Oh, really, sat-nav? We'll see about that. And you put your foot down. You are going to beat 12:13. You are going to fucking beat 12 o'clock if you can. You are going to take 30 minutes off that journey, come hell or high water. Doesn't matter how many pedestrians you're mowing down. You've got to get to point B before 11:59 and 59 seconds. You've got to. Sat-navs encourage speeding. They do. As do overly slow drivers, which are just as bad as speeders in my mind. If you're on a motorway and some cunt's doing 50 and you're stuck behind them, when you overtake them, in your mind, you're thinking, right, so I just did a mile at 50. I should have been doing 70. So I've lost 20 miles an hour over the last mile. So I'll tell you what, I'll do 80 for the next 2 miles to build it back. That's what you do. I do anyway. Sat-navs and slow drivers cause traffic accidents, possibly. I mean, there's no statistics. I'm not saying they're worse than drunk drivers, because obviously they're not. Or people using their phones texting, because obviously that's quite bad. But, I mean, they're down there. I reckon drink drivers are number 1, texting's number 2, sat-nav's number 3, slow drivers number 4. Could be wrong. Hit me up, let me know. So what do you find really peaceful? I'd love to know. Please hit me up. Tell me. What makes you feel at peace? What is your meditation? And if you say meditation, well, I don't think you've learned anything from this lecture. Let's have some music. I've realised this episode isn't about peace at all. I can't do an episode about peace. You know me by now, I can't. This is an episode about being rude. It's about not peace. Not war, but not peace either. It's about being rude. Was I rude to those people? I'm really starting to question myself now. Enough time has passed, a good couple of hours, and I'm starting to doubt myself. And I thought, I could have handled that better. I could have just said, listen, pal, I'm not interested. But thanks. But, you see, I have tried that route before, and they say, oh, that's one thing I forgot. It well wound me up. That's why it's got me so rattled. That's why I remember. Because as I was saying I'm not interested to him, he goes, oh, so you don't want to pay less money like everyone else then? He sort of implied that all my neighbours had signed up to his scheme and I was the only one. I just thought, fuck you. No, I don't. Fuck off. See, I got riled again. Fuck you. Fuck off. Yeah. So, being rude. That's what this is really about. I've found my thread now. What? I don't know. Quarter of an hour in and finally I've got on point. I can't be rude. Well, you see, I can be rude. I can't be rude in the supermarket, but I can apparently be rude to people at the door. Is that because they've infringed on my space and I feel, the gloves are off now? Or what? Is it like this passive aggressiveness in me? I hate rude people. Do you know what I hate? Is when, say you're in a shop and the person in front of you just completely disregards the shop, the assistant. Doesn't, obviously engage with them, make eye contact with them, say thank you, anything like that. I just think it's appalling. It winds me up. I give those people passive, aggressive looks as they walk past me. Like, you scum. But if they ever stopped and said, what? If they just saw me looking and they just stopped and they just looked at me and they went, what? I'd be like, sorry? Oh, no, I was looking out the window. You all right? Yeah, have a good day. Have a good day. And then I'd be deeply embarrassed. So, what does that say? The social niceties. I wish I was back in cavemen times when I could just stab them with my spear in the supermarket. No, I'm not a rude person. Generally speaking, I'm a very polite person. And I don't think I've got a short fuse. But I think sometimes I don't realise that I am or have been rude. It just kind of happens, like this morning. I didn't mean to be rude. I meant to be assertive. And that's the problem. I'm not very good at being assertive. And so, in attempting to do so, I am actually rude. I should have said to him, listen, I know you've got a job to do, and I know you have to come knocking on these doors, but I'm never going to change gas supplier from some guy knocking on my door, so you are wasting your time. Thanks for your time, but I'm going to pass. That would have been the best way to handle that. And see, the thing is, that's fine in hindsight, but even if I know what I'm like, even if I wrote that down as a script for the next time, and there will be a next time, it may very well be later today. It just, in the heat of the moment, and it's not the heat, it's not the anger, it's the awkwardness that triggers me, I think. And so the script would just go from being that to being, listen, I appreciate your time and thank you for knocking on my door, but I don't appreciate you knocking on my door. And I was quite happy on the sofa playing Contra, and then you come knocking on my door, and I won't change gas supplier. No, I will pay more than everyone else in this street. I will. Thank you for your time. And I'll slam the door. And that's just what the awkwardness of the situation would render me to. This kind of bizarre cartoon character version of myself, trying to be assertive and completely giving background by the very virtue of the fact I'm handling it in such an appalling way. Because from his point of view, he's just watching me going, whatever, prick, fine. And then he just goes on to the next door. He is not right now thinking about that altercation. He is knocking on another door, trying his luck. He's won, hasn't he? Tosser. But what really gets my goat is the phone ringers. Honestly, our landline must ring 3 times a day. I know nobody calls me or anyone else in this household on a landline anymore. We've only got it as part of the internet package. I may as well disconnect it. That landline is gathering dust. Literally, I had to clean it the other day. It is never used because all we get is people. It's not even people anymore. It's robots. Robots that are getting increasingly advanced. And they wind me up because they started calling your mobile too. And they say, oh, hi. And it's not a robot voice, it's a real voice. Oh, hi. And there's a gap. They're very clever. There's a gap. So you go, hello? And they go, oh, I'm calling about the call the other day. And you go, oh, what call? Who is this? And she goes, oh, it's Stephanie. Sorry, Steph. Stephanie, where are you from? I don't remember you. And she goes, it's about the accident. That wasn't your fault. And at that point, you realise it's a recording, a very clever recording that's triggered to respond once you've said something. Very clever. And I think the way it works, I should try going through it, is if you say, oh, yes, or oh, accident, or something like that, it will then forward to a real person. But fuck me, it's happening all the time. They're getting so advanced. This can't be legal. It's so rude. That is rude. That is rude. Sending a robot to call me about an accident that wasn't my fault, that I wasn't in. Bastards. You see, I can't do a podcast about peace because I can't do the chill, because I can't meditate, because I am socially awkward. I am socially awkward in any form of social confrontation, while at the same time I'm unable to be at peace enough to be with someone in silence without having to ask them what they're going to digest that day. I just can't help myself. I am not built for this world. Or rather, this world is not built for me, and I am going to overtake this world and rebuild it in my image. It's going to be called the Night Light Earth. Does that work? Kind of works. It's basically going to be, this podcast is going to take over the world, as evidenced by the statistics I talked to you about before. I'm so excited I'm losing my voice. I'm going to have some water. I'm so excited by this. That smooth, sparkling water sourced from the heart of Staffordshire. Yeah, as evidenced by the statistics I alluded to earlier, whereby there's the China figures, Brazil, and Spain. So these are my outposts. And if you are the listeners in those places, A, thank you, and B, get ready, because you are going to be my generals in the war for the world, the war for the lighthouse. But let's be polite about it. I don't want any guns. I don't want any fighting. I want you to go round to your neighbours' houses, just knock on and politely say, listen, I'm not a Mormon, but have you thought about joining the lighthouse? And people are going to say, what's that? And you're going to say, it's available on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Player FM, Stitcher, any number of places. Why don't you have a listen to the Gospel of Andy? And they're going to say, no, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, but I won't be listening to any podcasts that have been advertised to me by people knocking on my door. I know you're just doing your job. And again, I do appreciate you taking the effort to come and talk to me, but it's not for me. Thank you very much. Okay, goodbye. And they're going to quietly, calmly shut the door. And you're going to say, oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I wonder what I'd be like if the shoe was on the other foot. If I had to do that job. Right, once. I've had a few jobs. I've had a few jobs in my time. I could go through them, but I won't. but I might. But one of them, for about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, was one of the clipboarded cunt on the street. Yep, I was one of those people. It was a time when I was out of work. I was 19, 20, maybe 19. And there was this job going that was too easy to get, and I should have been suspicious, but I was also too young to know better. And you had to go to the job centre to meet this guy. And it was this guy who professed to be a solicitor, big guy in a very expensive-looking sort of three-piece suit. And he sat at the end of this desk, and the rest of us, there was like 4 of us, we had to sit on the other side. And he was talking about the charity work we were going to be doing, yet paid very well. Now, A, it didn't pay very well at all, and B, those two things don't mix. You can't do charity work for the good of the world and earn a lot of money. It's just not the way shit works. I was too young to realise it was too good to be true. And you try and sell people basically lottery tickets. About 1 pence for every pound went to some charity, probably. And I had to go. And I was shadowed by an experienced clipboarder. And I had to just stop people in the street and, you know, ask... just try and engage them in conversation. I was the worst person for this job. Try and engage them in conversation and sell them one of these fucking tickets. And in that 3 hours, I successfully collared no one. Or rather, I sold nothing, which should come as no surprise. And then we broke for lunch, and they never saw me again. It was the worst job in the world. And for people who could do it, you're either a psychopath or you're desperate. And either way... You know, okay, fair enough. But I wonder if the shoe was on the other foot and I was going round, you open the door. I would never say I'm not a Mormon, because you might be, and I think it's inappropriate, but I would... The door opens and I'd say, oh, hi. Oh, sorry to bother you. Listen, I couldn't help but notice that you live in a house, and hence you probably have gas or electricity in it. Have you thought about paying less for the gas or electricity? And they'd probably try and shut the door. And I'd put my foot in the door. And I'd say, don't you fucking do that to me. You listen. If you wouldn't mind just listening for a moment and looking at these brochures, I could save you up to 15% in your annual gas and electricity bills. And they will say, I'm not interested. And I'll say, that's okay, I understand. But if you'll just let me explain. And they'll say, I'm not interested. And I'll say, you fucking listen here. And I'll grab them by the fucking throat. This is why I wouldn't be very good at those jobs, because I'm not good in confrontational situations. I don't think I'd behave like that, actually. But what I would behave like would be, okay, bye. And I would just scurry up the path again. I've got no resilience for these situations. I couldn't cold call any fucker. I would be the worst. So, again, if they got the balls to do it, good on them. Just don't come to my door. Or if you're going to come to my door, accept the fact that I'm going to be awkward and probably come off as awfully rude. This episode's lost its thread again. Yeah, so I've done less prep for this one. Well, no, I often don't prep at all. But I've done even less than nothing for this one. It is just a collection of random thoughts. I've been busy producing and making another podcast, a 5-part documentary series called Outrage, 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 which is going to be about outrage and controversy in popular culture over 4 different medias. It's going to be out soon, probably in about a month's time. So I will be a bit slow in cranking out these lighthouses while I am producing those, and then when I'm releasing those, I'll take a break from the lighthouse. But it won't be long. It's very, very good. I've spoken to some very interesting people. Oh, you wouldn't believe some of the people I've spoken to. Some very interesting interviews on that one, and I can't wait to start putting them out there, and I think you're going to love it. So that's why I've been so busy interviewing people, recording some segments. I've got a couple of people coming in and done some narrations for me alongside me. So I've been very, very busy. I've been very, 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 very busy indeed, because I'm a very important man. And hence why this is really just me throwing ideas at the wall. This is basically me just verbal diarrheaing into your ears. So think about that. Think about that. So you're going to enjoy that. You're going to enjoy that. It's going to be a good mini-series, and I can't wait to get it out there. And so I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you for joining me. Goodbye.